From the Veld to Patagonia, the legacy of the Boer settlers in Argentina. This narrative is proudly brought to you by Polly Speaks For You. At Polly Speaks For You, we are committed to empowering individuals, especially those with disabilities or learning challenges, through innovative text-to-speech and voice recognition technology. Polly Speaks For You is more than just software. It's a tool for self-expression, connecting people with the world in meaningful ways. By blending the richness of history with cutting-edge technology, Polly Speaks For You demonstrates that every voice, whether preserving the past or shaping the future, has the potential to inspire. While we strive to make the story engaging, our primary focus is on storytelling itself. The visuals are secondary. We're showcasing the remarkable capabilities of text-to-speech software that bring these stories to life. This narrative is proudly brought to you by Polly Speaks For You. At Polly Speaks For You, we are committed to empowering individuals, especially those with disabilities or learning challenges, through innovative text-to-speech and voice recognition technology. Polly Speaks For You is more than just software. It's a tool for self-expression, connecting people with the world in meaningful ways. By blending the richness of history with cutting-edge technology, Polly Speaks For You demonstrates that every voice, whether preserving the past or shaping the future, has the potential to inspire. While we strive to make the story engaging, our primary focus is on storytelling itself. The visuals are secondary. We're showcasing the remarkable capabilities of text-to-speech software that bring these stories to life. The story of the Afrikaner Boer settlers in Argentina is a fascinating chapter of migration and cultural preservation, rooted in the aftermath of the Second Anglo-Boer War, 1899 to 1902. Their journey to South America, particularly to the Chubut province in Patagonia, represents a tale of resilience, survival, and adaptation. The migration to Argentina. During the Second Anglo-Boer War, the British sought to crush the Boer republics of the South African Republic, Transvaal, and the Orange Free State. Many Boers who resisted British rule and fought fiercely in the conflict were left devastated by the British tactics, including the use of concentration camps, scorched earth policies, and the destruction of farms. The war left a deep scar on the Afrikaner people, leading to a sense of displacement and resentment toward British rule. After the war, many Boers, disillusioned with British authority in South Africa, sought new lands where they could live freely. Argentina, with its vast open lands and the government's encouragement of European immigration, offered an attractive opportunity for some of these Boer families. Settling in Patagonia. In 1902, a group of around 600 Boer families made the long journey across the Atlantic to Argentina. They settled in the sparsely populated region of Chubut, a remote and harsh area in Patagonia, known for its vast plains, cold winds, and extreme climate. Despite the challenging environment, these settlers were determined to rebuild their lives and preserve their unique identity. The Argentine government granted them land for farming, and the Boers, who were experienced in agriculture, set to work establishing farms and ranches. They introduced farming techniques, built homesteads, and gradually integrated into Argentine society while maintaining their cultural heritage. Cultural preservation. The Boer settlers in Argentina managed to preserve much of their Afrikaner culture for several generations. They held on to their language Afrikaans, religion primarily Dutch Reformed Protestantism, and many of their traditional customs. For years, these Afrikaner communities lived somewhat isolated from the broader Argentine population, which allowed them to maintain their distinct identity. Some aspects of their culture included a language. Many descendants of the Boer settlers spoke Afrikaans, a language derived from Dutch, which was the native tongue of the Afrikaner people in South Africa. Over time, as younger generations grew up in Argentina and integrated into the wider society, the use of Afrikaans diminished, but some families continue to speak it at home. Religion. The Dutch Reformed Church was central to Boer community life, and they established churches where they could practice their faith. Religion played a significant role in preserving their moral values and communal bonds. Agriculture. Like in South Africa, farming became a way of life for the Boer settlers in Patagonia. They brought knowledge of livestock farming, particularly sheep, and worked hard to develop successful farms in the rugged Patagonian terrain. Challenges and adaptation. Life in Patagonia was not easy. The climate and geography were drastically different from the regions the Boers were accustomed to in South Africa. They faced extreme weather conditions, including strong winds and cold winters, which made farming difficult. However, the Boers were resilient, and their agricultural expertise helped them adapt to their new environment. Over time, as Argentine society became more modernized and interconnected, the Boers and their descendants began to integrate more with the local population. The younger generations learned Spanish and gradually adopted more Argentine customs and traditions. Many Boer descendants intermarried with local Argentine families, leading to a blending of cultures. Today, many of the Boer descendants in Argentina consider themselves both Argentine and Afrikaner, reflecting a dual cultural identity. The legacy of the Boer settlers. While the original Afrikaner Boer culture has largely faded into the background, there are still families in Argentina, particularly in Chubut, who trace their lineage back to the Boer settlers. Some continue to celebrate their heritage through family gatherings, religious traditions, and the preservation of historical records and stories passed down through generations. A few remnants of their cultural presence remain. Place names. Some of the towns and farms established by the Boers retained their Afrikaner names for many years. Festivals. In certain areas, descendants of the Boer settlers still hold cultural festivals that celebrate their Afrikaner heritage, sometimes including music, food, and traditional clothing reminiscent of South Africa. Historic sites. In Patagonia, there are a few landmarks and memorials that commemorate the Boer settlers and their contributions to the development of the region. Modern-day Boer descendants. Today, the descendants of the Boer settlers in Argentina are fully integrated into Argentine society, with many of them speaking Spanish as their primary language. The strong cultural ties to Afrikaner heritage have largely diminished over time, but a sense of pride in their history and ancestry remains. While much of the Afrikaner language and customs have been absorbed into the broader Argentine identity, these families still honor the story of their forefathers. Those who left their homeland, crossed the ocean, and built new lives in a faraway land. Similar Afrikaner migrations. It is worth noting that other groups of Afrikaners also sought refuge in different parts of the world after the Anglo-Boer War, including Kenya, Australia, and the United States, though none established a presence as long-lasting as the community in Argentina. Conclusion. The story of the Boer settlers in Argentina is one of endurance, adaptation, and the pursuit of freedom. From their war-torn homeland in South Africa to the windswept plains of Patagonia, these Afrikaners brought their cultural traditions, language, and values with them. Over time, while they have integrated into Argentine society, their unique history continues to be remembered by their descendants as a testament to their resilience and determination in the face of hardship. If you're enjoying this story, please remember to hit like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us continue creating content that educates and empowers. To learn more about South Africa's leading accessibility software and to support our dyslexic-friendly initiative, visit www.polispeaksforyou.co.za. Drop a comment if you want more information. Thank you for watching this video.